Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where we are on our way back to Kerbin, and unfortunately for us, we had a small Julian encounter that threw off our plan a pretty hefty amount. But if we just warp on around here, we already have a maneuver set up that will bring us back to Kerbin, mostly. Well, we're going to have to do a little bit of work with it, but we've got 8 kilometers per second here. It's not a concern. So 307 meters per second to get us an encounter here. Yeah, we're about 4 hours away from it still, but that is absolutely fine. Let's warp forward. It'll be about a 17-second burn, so not too bad there. About 1 minute remaining. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Excellent. So that is looking absolutely fine. We're just going to bring this on down, and then we'll have to, of course, fine-tune our overall orbit once we get into Kerbin here. But that's fine. Like I said, we've got so much DV, I'm really not too concerned about it. So downward it comes, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So, what do we got here? Actually, we kind of nailed that. That's pretty much exactly where I want it to be right now. It is kind of high. We could think about trying to tune it down with a little bit of retrograde. So we just hold on the retrograde marker. Let's thrust limit this guy down to 1% thrust, because this is going to be a lot. But let's then come back into Kerbin here. Pin open this periapsis. Interesting. Retrograde is raising that periapsis. Let's flip it around to prograde. I did not expect that. That was a retrograde burn, but I guess we overshot. We're coming in on this side and going out on this side. So we're going like this. And I believe that is prograde to Kerbin. We can warp a little bit and find out once we get this tuned down a little. Actually, let's warp right now, just really, really quickly. Yes. Kerbin is rotating this direction, and we're going to be coming in this direction, which is the same way. So we are coming in prograde. That is perfect. That's all we needed to know. So at this point, we just want to drop our periapsis down to a lower number. Excellent. 1% thrust is about right. That's a moon encounter. Get out of here, moon. We don't want you. Okay, so we're down to about 2,000 kilometers at this point. We're starting to lose efficiency on this burn, and why is that? It's starting to go back up, so we need to go a radial direction, I think, in order to further dial that in. Let's try... Is this... I can never remember. This is radial out. I can never remember which is in and out, but this is radial out. I'm not sure which direction overall we're going to need. It's one of these. Whereas in as we're going to get with prograde right now, it's starting to go back up, in fact. And let's just see here. Gentle, gentle burn to find out what direction we're going. This is correct. Okay. Excellent. We're just looking to continually drop this on down. 700 meters, or kilometers, I should say. This is about 250 kilometers at this point. I want to bring it down to about 100. There we go. That is 100 kilometers. Not quite a perfectly equatorial orbit, but it really doesn't need to be one. That will do as far as bringing ourselves down. So at this point, I want to warp us to about here. That is, of course, a ways in the future. Time warp limited due to proximity to celestial body. Okay. I want to warp to here, though. Just inside our apoaps, or just inside our encounter, rather. Okay, perfect. So this'll do. Not enough resources. Experiment interrupted? What? I don't think we're running an experiment, but whatever. Okay, so we're going to come over to the periapsis here. With the idea being, of course, we're going to need to do a braking burn. It's probably not going to be that much of a braking burn either. Yeah, except we don't want to be at 1% thrust. We want to go back to full thrust here. And let's just put this on lock for right now. Full thrust, there we go. And we are going to come back to Kerbin. Kerbin, please. Thank you. And at this periapsis, we are going to now do that retrograde burn. It's not that much DV, but this is... yeah, that's really not that bad. I want to pull this back in timing a little bit to about here, I think. I think that timing slightly before the periapsis is about where we want to be. 84 kilometers and 120. Okay, that is a little too much. This is now 105. Much better. That's basically circularized at 100. So that will do, and then we can just deorbit from there. 960 meters per second for that braking burn is really not bad. To be honest, I expected it to be a little higher, but, I mean... I suppose it makes... does that make sense? We directly transferred from Joule pretty much. There was some radial thrown in there. Interesting. That's very interesting. This is cheaper than I expected. We'll put it that way. We would have had enough anyway. Our experiment keeps being interrupted for having not enough resources. I'm still fairly certain that we do not, in fact, have an experiment running. So that is definitely interesting. We're currently about 20 minutes away from this burn, and let's head on over to it. Now we're about 40 seconds away from the burn, and yeah, you can see we're about 1 kilometer per second over our target velocity for orbit. So that's perfect. Now, there's no point in trying to drop this down at that landing point because we don't have the correct lander. So, to be honest, we're probably just going to continue doing this burn until we get to, like, 30-ish kilometers. I mean, yeah, that's putting the periapsis here. The periapsis would go up here. We're burning at about the Terminator. I would rather be burning before this, but this'll do, I guess. Yeah, it should be fine. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. So we're just going to continue to burn here. This is just going to be a pure retrograde burn, and we're going to burn pure retrograde until our periapsis is probably around 10 kilometers. We'll land dayside here. It'll be fine. So we are now officially in orbit. That, of course, didn't take very much. And we definitely could have done aero capture here, but there's no real reason to. So it's absolutely fine. Just continuing to burn retrograde here, getting rid of some horizontal velocity. That apoapsis dropping down below 500,000 meters. I like it. Dropping below 300 now. 200 kilometers. 100 kilometers. Periapsis is now dropping. We're targeting 10. That should do. Now we're going to throw away 7 kilometers per second almost of fuel. That feels really bad, but we're going to do it anyway. We should also retract our solar panels, except these can't be retracted, so we'll see if they survive. They have in the past. At this point, we just got to throw all this away. There's no reason to keep it around. It feels so dirty to throw 7 kilometers per second away, but we knew that this was overbuilt for pull, but in science mode, there's no reason to change that. There's no reason at all to have it be, like, tailored for the mission at hand. Overkill is the way to go in science mode, because there's no cost to anything. Of course, we don't want to have that burn timer up anymore, and let's just warp down to the atmosphere here. Okay. So we're now in the atmosphere, and we're going to have ourselves a nice amount of drag. As you can see here, we are thoroughly on the day side as of right now, and we're going to be landing probably somewhere around here-ish, if I had to guess. Maybe a little further than that. I'm very bad at guessing that, but, you know, it'll be fine. So we are just continuing to drop that periapsis on down. At this point, the position of the periapsis is in the dark side, but that will get changed. This will be a light side landing, so that is good. But it's going to take a little bit for that periapsis to be on an impact trajectory. We can see time to periapsis is going down right now, but that's not shocking. I mean, we're at 60 kilometers. Let's go ahead and 4x warp this. 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer. Periapsis is internal. And you can see it moving towards the Terminator here. Excellent. Surface velocity is going down. That is phenomenal. And we'll see if these solar panels survive. In KSP1, they absolutely would break around this point. In KSP2, they don't seem so inclined, so there is that. There's also no real reason to recover them in science mode, so career mode definitely adds some challenge in that regard. Yeah, we're definitely coming in dayside. Looks like a landing dayside, possibly. It could be land, it could be water, actually. I'm not sure which. It's going to be, like, right on the shore. We have drifted a bit off of the retrograde node. I don't think that's a problem. We're slowing down quite precipitously at this point. 1.6 kilometers per second. 1.4 kilometers per second. Yeah, we're definitely not going to have anything burning off there. It's definitely looking like, I don't know, it might be a water landing. I think it is at this point. Yeah, it's going to be a water landing. Cool. I mean, we're pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and get our chutes out. We'll get our drogues first. Not that these 2 drogues are going to do all that much, but that'll be fine. Are these still tuned for Duna? No, they are not. Okay, this is fine. At this point, it is completely safe to deploy our mains, so we might as well. No reason not to deploy our mains, and let's continue to warp on down. Wonderful. So 90 meters per second, it'll be a splashdown. This is absolutely fine. We have no concerns about what's going on here at all. The drogues have deployed, and the drogues and the undeployed mains move us down to around 34 meters per second. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's overkill, the number of mains here, to be honest. 3.1 meters per second. Okay, SAS off, please. We don't need to work on that. Just sit wherever the chutes want us to sit. Yeah, this is certainly overkill on this number of chutes. I believe this was originally designed for the Duna landing, which of course is a much thinner atmosphere. But yeah, we can have this just gently waft on down. I mean, at 3 meters per second, it's going to take a little bit, but that is fine. We're not going to have any problems here, so at this point, we need to start thinking about what the next mission we're going to do is. We can just relaunch this same vehicle and go out, land on Eeloo, do our experiments, and come back. That is a completely viable thing that we can do. So that's maybe not the worst of ideas, even. So downward we come here. It's going to take a little bit longer. We're about halfway down at this point. These chutes are definitely overkill. We could cut some of them, but I would rather just be patient. We'll just warp this slowly down. It'll be fine. But yeah, I think probably the Eeloo mission is our next priority. We'll have to take a look at what we have available. We don't have that many science missions left. We are going to be wrapping this series up pretty soon. Because as I said, we are abandoning the base idea, and we're just doing the science mode, finishing that, and then calling it good until we have a more solid idea on what the future direction of this game is going to be. As of right now, we don't have much of an idea about that at all. Okay, this is flashing between recoverable and not recoverable. Let's recover that. Cool. So, back to the KSC we go. And we currently have 12,000 science, so we might as well head into R&D and spend some of this. But I don't think we need any of it necessarily, except I think we wanted something over here. Aquatic science is always interesting, but what was it that we wanted? Did we already get everything we wanted in order to do the landing? I mean, XL hydrogen tanks is pretty useful. I guess we could grab that. And then there's nuclear power, specialized docking. This is all kind of irrelevant. We probably don't have enough to get all of this anyway right now. I'm leaning towards grabbing, like, XL construction for this adapter. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's head over to mission control. And we're going to grab our 3,000 science from this. There we go. This stuff is toxic. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so what else do we have available? Well, we've got land at the specific position on Kerbin. That's fine. We know how we're going to do that. We just need to get around to doing it. This one is going to be the complicated one. Land on Eve with a vessel with 10 Kerbals and return to Kerbin. That one's going to be interesting. We'll see how that works. Obtain a sample report of the strange creature on Lathe. So presumably we need to land at a specific position on Lathe. And then this is just go to Eeloo. We don't actually even have to land on it, but we probably will. So we'll track this one. And we're going to head into the VAB. We can do this with the exact same rocket that we had before. So we're going to open up the Moho Lander 2, which is the same rocket we had before, but I'm not going to bother carrying along the landing legs. There's no point. These are completely broken. Why bother bringing them? The next question is, do we want to go to XL hydrogen tanks? I want to experiment with them a little bit here, but I have a feeling we don't want to. We don't have XL nuclear engines, so it would require some sort of like an engine plate. So that's the size of an XL hydrogen tank. Okay. It is certainly significantly larger. No doubt about that, and I want to check in on our nuclear engines here. So, if we had a nuclear engine here, this is a Methalox engine. Hydrogen. Here we go. So this is a swerve, and as you can see, it's a little too small for that. It's like awkwardly small. So if we were to do some sort of an engine plate, we would... This is not really all that helpful of a search. EP dash? No. So that's an adapter plate. That's not what we're looking for. They call it something different in this game. Mount? Engine mounts. Yes, that's what they call. So we've got this engine mount here, but it's the same size. There's no point. So I don't think we're going to go to the XL hydrogen tanks at this time. I don't think there's a really good reason for it. I think we just relaunch this at this point. Has Jeb returned? Sort of. Jebrick Kerman. Okay, so it seems like in this game it just cycles in new Kerbals. Okay, whatever. That's fine. So we would just load all of these guys up and we would head off to Eeloo. So this is completely fine as it is. And sure, we can bring along the radiation sampler. That's fine. No reason not to. Let's launch this guy. And the question is, are we going to have clean detachments again? We have for the last several launches in a row. So that's a good sign. Okay. Let's see how this goes. I'm always very concerned about this. Okay, let's go up as soon as we get first motion. First motion. To up. Clear that tower. Don't impact the tower, please. Cool. No impact on the tower is a good first sign. So upward we go here. And we are on our way now to Eeloo. So this is the exact same vehicle, of course. And it'll have the exact same problems as well. We have RTGs up top here, right? We do. We do have RTGs up top. Okay, that sounds good. We're still going to be pretty reliant on the solar panels, of course, but that is absolutely fine. So we're currently at about an apoapsis of 1 kilometer. We need to be about 20 times higher on this apoapsis. And actually, I'm going to go for like 30 on the apoapsis because I did not like that tumble that we had before. So that is fine. We're going to go up higher, and that is absolutely okay. That means we have to move less far, and the atmosphere is going to be pushing against us less. So that'll be okay. So about an apoapsis of 3, so we need to be 10 times higher than this right now. We got to build up a good amount of speed. And of course, thrust to weight, like sea level thrust to weight is pretty low in this game, to be honest. KSP2 does not have very good heavy lift engines. So that's definitely something to think about. We are likely going to have to do our lander for Eve in stages. We're likely going to have to lift it in stages and assemble in orbit, which is a doable thing, to be sure, but that's probably something that's going to need to happen. We're now at an apoapsis of about 8.5 kilometers, so, I mean, we're about a third there. Almost. Now we're a third there. Excellent. And we're starting to see that apoapsis go up quicker and quicker. That is, of course, completely expected as our surface velocity goes up. Excellent. So, like I said, around 30 kilometers, because I really didn't like that tumble that we had before. So let's just let this lift. We're about halfway there now. Looks solid. The atmosphere is definitely getting thinner. We are now almost 2/3 of the way to our target apoapsis for our gravity turn. We're now past that. So that's looking good. We're up to 22, 23, 24, and 25. Only 5 kilometers to go at this point. I'm going to flip us to surface prograde, like this. 28, 29, and switch to orbital. Hopefully we don't tumble anywhere near as badly. Get that under control. We're bypassing. We're still going the wrong way right now, so we're still tumbling at this moment. But actually, this is kind of okay. To be honest, we kind of want to be going to the horizon. We got it under control here. Let's just put it in lock mode. We're at 52 kilometers right now for the apoapsis. And I don't want to be turning quite this quickly, but let's just park ourselves right over here. Now, I have a feeling this is going to cause some issues, specifically with our detachment of our engines. So we're going to park right here, but we're going to have our solid rocket motors falling off fairly shortly. Okay. So we're just parking here for the moment. Solid rocket motors have expired. Let's see if this is clean. Ooh. I'm not going to call that clean. We did lose one engine. I'm going to deactivate this engine to compensate. Okay. Now we're going to have to keep all of our fuel even. So that's okay. I'm not calling it clean, but I think it's still workable. So let's go into our resource manager, and we're going to need to make sure that all of this methylox is being evenly utilized. So we're going to move all of these guys out. Like so. And it is not currently, it's all being used right now, but it's not being evenly used. So that's understood. We're going to equalize all of these, and we're going to start that. That's not exactly what I wanted it to do. It's trying to equalize the tonnage, not the percentage. Okay, it's fine. We'll just let it continue to drop until our S3 tanks are down below 3 tons. It'll be okay. So we can see that our apoapsis is currently about 62 kilometers. That's understood. We're just working on as much horizontal speed as we can right now. And this will be absolutely fine. We can see that our time to apoapsis is coming down, but it's coming down very, very slowly. We should be starting to push through that pretty soon. That would be going up right now if we had these 2 engines, but, you know, not a clean detachment. It's fine. So let's just change our attitude a little bit here. Okay, parking it right about here or so. I'm keeping an eye on our overall weight here. Let's go ahead and equalize this again. Cool. And we're going to keep equalizing it until we are fully out of fuel, which will take a little bit. We can see time to apoapsis is going up right now. That is a very good sign. And we want to keep equalizing this fuel for a little bit yet. So we'll just do this. There we go. Just keep that fuel nice and equal for the moment. And we can be parked at the prograde marker. That's okay. I don't mind being parked there right now. It's very, very close. Apoapsis is currently in space, and we're going to continue to burn here at the prograde marker. Ah, hang on. Let's rebalance this. Okay. We need to just let these tanks burn out. They're now out. So now we need to ditch all of this. And hope that we don't lose our engine here as we accelerate away. We're good. Okay. So that is fine. At this point, we're going to continue to burn here on just this singular engine. We should definitely extend our solar panels. So I'm going to do exactly that. So these solar panels and these solar panels. We're not quite out of the atmosphere yet, but we're very, very close to it at this point. And we're just going to continue to burn here until we have an apoapsis, which we can see our apoapsis timer is going up. That is a good sign. We're going to burn here until we have an apoapsis of about 100 kilometers, although we could, theoretically, cut our engine here. I'm going to give us a little bit more of a grace period, so that'll be fine. We'll just bring this right on up, and we'll be exiting this atmosphere eventually, but let's go up to 4x for the time being. At least until we're out of the atmosphere for right now. And we are out of the atmosphere. Fantastic. So we're now up to an apoapsis of 80 kilometers. Actually, yeah, this is ground mode. What's sea level? Yeah, we are out of it. Okay. Fantastic. So I'm just continuing to burn this to 100 kilometers for right now. 82 for now. Now 83. Our thrust to weight is definitely low, but it's good enough. It'll get us there. It would be a lot better if we had kept around that engine and hadn't had to turn off the other engine. No doubt about it, that would have been an improvement, but it's okay. So we're basically at orbital velocity right now, and we can see that from how close our periapsis is to being orbital. Beautiful. 90 at this point, and we're just having that go up just a bit. Cool. We can see our periapsis is now above the ground, but we're not quite orbital here. Let's go ahead and turn off our engine, and we're going to need a tiny, tiny burn once we get to our apoapsis. So we just need to coast our way over to here and just do a very, very small burn to raise our periapsis and do a full orbital insertion. Something about like that. About 60 meters per second. Yeah, that'll be fine. So we'll align to that, but that is going to take a long time, and it is past time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to head off to Eeloo. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy, Kintogan, and all the rest. and of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.